This week on the Co-op Catch-Up, we're off to a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
That's right, Fallout has dropped like a nuclear bomb on Amazon Prime, and this is our first watch reaction, spoiler-free.
Hello and welcome back to another Co-op Catch-Up. As we've just said in the little trailer there, today we're sitting down to discuss the world of Fallout.
Hello there. I'm here to show you a wonderful place.
If you've been hidden in a vault for the last 200 years, you have no idea what we're talking about. Gamerbot, what's Fallout?
Well, no man's new TV series on Amazon, an Amazon original. Massive, big budget show based on a beloved video game, which first appeared in the early 90s, which we played various incarnations.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, a fifth one as well. And they finally decided to adapt this as a TV show. And we got to see it for the first time this week. I'm on episode 3, so I'm a little bit ahead of you. I'm excited about what you're going to see, but we're going to talk more about the first scene. No spoilers, but how it treats the subject material, how it works with the game, and how it looks, and whether or not they've captured the spirit of Fallout, and whether or not there's enough for people beyond just video gamers, people who are actually looking for a really good drama as well.
Yeah. Now, given, from my point, if I was sitting here, I've never seen it before. For me, it holds a special place in my heart because I moved from Skyrim, which is by Bethesda as well. It's the same studio that produced this. And this is almost Skyrim, but with guns.
Yes.
It's probably the best way of putting it. Same level of thing for the gameplay. But for the world of Fallout, what's going on? What's happened?
Yeah, so you're talking about a sort of near but alternate reality to ours, whereby it's set in the 40s and the 50s, where the world was on the brink of nuclear war. But in this reality, it's almost as though they've really harnessed nuclear power, and they use it to create a sort of more futuristic-y world than we have. They do have cool robots and nuclear cola and all these sorts of special, clever gadgets and things at the same time. So they've harnessed it. And for whatever reason, there's this catastrophic chain of events which leads to nuclear annihilation, like the creation turning on its creator, which is something we've talked about with Oppenheimer and other post-apocalyptic things again.
Which you could watch, and Godzilla, just up there, if I remember to add the button.
Yes. And so the big, obviously, I don't think it's a spoiler to say, the real villain, original villain in this series is the atomic explosion or series of explosions which changes the world our characters are living in.
Yeah.
So it's completely unidentifiable compared to the first one. And that is what this first episode, and even though it's a lot of dark humour in it, it begins with an absolutely terrifying envisioning of a world where nuclear explosions, a nuclear apocalypse just completely changes our planet, and what it would be like to deal with that, and the people who manage to survive and the people who are left behind.
And that, if I remember, was how Fallout 4, which was the one that I fell in love with, was how it all began. We had that 1950s, there was a warning of a bomb going off, and all the sirens go off, and everyone ran down to the vault if they'd been signed through to be a vault dweller.
They had enough money to afford to get a place down in the vault as well. Again, it's about the haves and the have-nots, the poor and the rich people. There's always that gulf. It's a real commentary on society as well, and the people who can afford to survive. Would you want to survive? I want to ask you this, actually. If you were in this situation, would you want to go down to a vault and sit down there for 200 years? Obviously, you would never emerge from that. Your future generations would. Is that a life you'd want to lead?
So, I mean, for me, when I watched the original, I'm going to keep on going back to the game because that's more for me. I've only seen episode 1 so far, but in the original game of Fallout 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is where I sort of capped out, it was about them going into the vault and being frozen for that 200-year period, 300-year period.
A bit different. You're right.
And there weren't. It's a tiny spoiler. There wasn't an existence down there other than the robots looking after the vault by Vault Tech.
Yes. Whereas Fallout 3, I remember you start your life, I think, in the vault, don't you? And there's a community. You're like an adolescent. There are bullies and things like that. They're dealing with similar things that we deal with nowadays, but down in the vault. But you're right. Fallout 4, frozen. They thaw you out, and then you come out 200 years later.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with the freezing.
So, and that was the thing. That was a 1950s person coming out into the world of Fallout and the Wasteland and the ghouls, all that sort of thing.
Yep.
Now this show, from what I've seen of episode 1, the cast, we'll talk about that in a couple of seconds, but the show itself, it still deals with the post-apocalyptic, the moment of the big bomb, the flash. No surprises there because it's in the opening trailer.
Yeah.
It deals with that side of things, but then you move more into the Vault Dwellers Society part as our sort of acclimatization to what's going on and meet the characters.
Yep.
And then obviously we have that big reveal of going into the wasteland.
It felt like Fallout 3 to begin with, because I remember the game when you start off in the vault.
Yeah.
And what I loved about the series, not too many spoilers, but obviously these people who had dashed down the vault, and it's 200 years later until we pick up the story again.
Yeah.
And these people who've been down here are like the offspring of the generations before. They've never known what life is like above the surface outside the vault. And so they're all committed to this. In their minds, they've been ingrained and educated. You are the future of the human race. We must procreate, have another generation of kids, and then one day they'll be able to emerge, and then it will be our responsibility to repopulate and rule the world. And it's all very, very high and mighty, but very sanctimonious and very sort of snooty, looking down on anyone who might be up there as well. But they're also naive. They're all like childlike state down there because they know nothing different.
Yeah, and that's what I sort of wondered from what I saw of it. And what you've heard of the other ones before, is there like an elitism? So is it I won't talk about that man with the tash, but it's that sort of, the best American you can be mentality that they had for everybody in Vault-Tec. They only picked the best of the best genetics. Mm-hmm. And I got the idea that these guys are meant to be like Captain America, like super soldiers. They're like genetically better than everybody else, and I don't know if that's what the show's going down.
Well, I mean, if you look at some of the Vault Dwellers, you can tell that they're not the genetically sort of more superior ones, and perhaps they were just the ones who are richest, and again, that speaks to the problems in society now. The best people do not survive, the richest people would as well.
Yeah, okay.
That's why there was I think I get a sense that a lot of them are just sort of bumbling idiots who don't know really what they're doing. They're just, their granddad has told them that they must persevere because they've got to repopulate and you're the future sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to be doing that.
Well, what I found, and again, we're trying to avoid any spoilers here, but they kept it as gritty as the original, and that's what I was really paranoid that they might miss. Mm-hmm. So, famously, Fallout, you shoot someone in the head with a laser cannon, they explode. Yeah.
Fallout used that. Sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry, but that just really quickly, they used that VATS vault-assisted vault-assisted targeting system.
Yes.
So you could highlight a part of the body, right? So, but continue, because it was a crazy, gory, violent video game, wasn't it?
That was it. I used the VATS, you took out their legs, and then the ghoul would still crawl towards you. Slowly. But that's there in this show. It's not been, touched by woke society. Mm-hmm. They've not calmed it down. There is an iconic scene. If you've already seen it, the curtain scene.
Yep.
In the opening one, I wasn't expecting that on a daytime TV show. From my point, the bit that I've been really impressed with so far is the cast.
Yep.
Now, they've followed... There's a heroine, which you can see, but they follow the key groups of the computer game.
Yep.
So you have the Vault Dwellers.
Yeah. Ella Purnell plays Lucy.
Yes, who is our key lady? The lady with the big eyes.
Yes.
That I was wondering, had they CGI'd her eyes at first? Because they are so...
unfeasibly large eyes.
Yeah.
But that's the perfect person, isn't it? Someone's like, big eye, I can't believe the world I'm in. Perfectly cast.
Perfectly cast. I was really impressed with her. And again, she had that sort of tongue-in-cheek. It's a little bit comical at moments. And suddenly, incredible gore and horrificness, but naivety and...
Do you know what I liked about her naivety? It was backed up by that sort of martial arts training and everything. She has that as well, because that's what they do, is train down there. But at the same time, they've got no common sense, no world-wise... they don't know anything about the world. So it was very jarring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and then she was a complete badass.
And then they show her with a machine gun getting in assault rifle training. Yeah, perfect. Go America. And I liked all that sort of stuff. That portrayed really well.
Yeah.
They then had... the guys in the big armoured mechs.
The Brotherhood of Steel. Yes.
Steel.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, these guys, real zealots, and they're like, we are charged with defending people and all high and mighty, but are they making the place better? I'm not even sure.
See, because I forgot in the TV series, in the computer game, there were the air blimps. There were those guys dropping in from helicopters, and they sort of ruled the lands. But I forgot about the whole clerics and being zealots.
And the squire system, you have to start from the bottom up, like an intern, to then earn your armour.
And I feel, from episode 1, that's going to be part of their story arc on what they're doing throughout the show.
Yes.
But I do think we are going to talk about this more in depth with spoilers, by the way, which hopefully we'll put up there so that people can actually see a spoiler, including spoiler episode.
Yes, absolutely. We can talk a bit more about it.
The opposite of spoiler free will be up there for you to go and watch, and it's our thoughts and reactions on the whole of the first episode.
This will get people excited about watching it. They'll go and watch it, then come back to listen to the spoiler-laden one with us.
Absolutely
you can't
perfect.
get enough.
Exactly. Now, I thought there was another group, and my brain had sort of...
Really quickly with the Brotherhood of Steel, when you get to the third episode, I cannot wait for you to see it, because there's a squire and he just steals the show. He's so funny. This is why it's so jarring for me. You've got this ultra violence, bags of blood exploding all over the place, and then it's just incredibly funny at times. Well, anyway, we've got to talk about the third episode. Please watch it as soon as possible.
I will watch that as soon as I can. I mean, because from my point, I'm seeing all the callback to Fallout 4, and it makes me so happy that they've done it justice. Yeah. That's what I think most people were worried about, that it was just going to be another cash grab, was what I thought. I did find it very strange. At the moment, if you go to Amazon Prime, they have dumped the entire Season 1 in one go, so you can binge it. Mm-hmm. Very strange, but I quite like the idea of waiting. But I can binge it.
Yes, we're kind of old school like that. We remember a time where you have to wait a week to watch things, and it built the suspense. But anyway, maybe we should do another episode on binging versus abstinence, in the future, and waiting for things. But I think you were asking about the third group of people, and I guess that's the people who live above, who didn't make it into the vault, who we didn't even know existed until, you are introduced to the people above land, above ground. So in the series, in
the sort of original shows, there were the rusted towns in the wasteland, people drinking Nuka-Cola, the ghouls, which were the people that were, let's say, affected by the radiation, that were still living and talking, but extended life. There were the feral ghouls.
Yes,
who just... Not Gourd, that's Stargate.
Follow the Gourd? That's Life of Brian, I think. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Ghouls.
Ghouls.
And they've just been living out their best life in radiation.
It's like they were given immortality, but at the cost of being hideously disfigured.
Yeah, but then there were the raiders, there were traders, there were different arcs of people that the Vault Dwellers had no bearing on. Life had continued. Life had found a way. Yeah, and they'd just sort of skimmed on past it all, and they'd forgotten about all of those people below in the vaults. Had just been forgotten for 200, 300 years, and life had just continued. Yeah, I still never knew how life had continued with this apocalyptic event happening. I don't think I ever finished the storyline. So with that in mind, I know we're going to do some gameplay.
Yeah, we definitely should. We'll take a look at the game again. I mean, I had another quick look just to reminisce about Fallout 4, because it was such a great game. Really good. And the vault opens, and suddenly there is the world and the wasteland, and it stretches out, and then our protagonist steps out into it, much like the video game as well. You cannot forget that moment. That was one of those moments, especially in video gaming history. You're like, wow, that's breathtaking. Here I go. Yeah. The story's begun.
On Fallout 4 is the iconic, comes up in the lift shaft, up. Originally, if you remember, as the nuclear bomb goes off, they lower into the vault, and they're just sealed away in time. Yeah. And then the beginning of the game is coming up out of the vault and back into the same world, but totally changed. And I feel like that's going to be there in there, because I've got a lot to look forward to in it. Yeah. From my point, I'll sit down this week. We'll go and see the rest of the episodes. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. But that's it for our first episode of the Fallout series. Hopefully you've thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. We've enjoyed it.
It's been great talking about it. Very excited, and we can talk more about it as we watch more episodes as well. Obviously, we love that you're coming along on this journey with us, part of the conversation. We love just sitting down and having a chat about video games, movies, and television shows as well. So we'd love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and please tell us your thoughts, especially on retro gaming as well, because we want to do more retro gaming. So if there are any games you want us to play, let us know. Any other movies and TV shows we should be watching. Really appreciate it. Get in touch.
Thank you. Till next week. Thank you.
See you next time.
And then you need paper to just do.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Okay,
How
ready?
now, brown cow?
Very good, yeah.
The rain in Spain falls mainly upon the plain.
Yeah.
Don't do that noise.
Sorry, don't do that. That's going to break the algorithm.
Okay, we're good?
Yeah, we're good.